Global icons have copied this move, and that's no exaggeration. With nothing more than a deadpan face and a simple flick of the hand, an ordinary factory worker from Italy transformed into a global sensation overnight. That man, Khaby Lame, the TikTok king who dethroned everyone with his sharp, silent takedowns of ridiculous life hacks. His videos were unstoppable, pulling hundreds of millions of views and stacking up likes by the millions. At his prime, insiders claim he was cashing in nearly $750,000 for a single post. Yes, one video, but the glory didn't last forever. The once universally loved Khaby Lame is now tangled up in scandal, and the internet has flipped on him. What went wrong? In June 2025, Khaby's American dream collapsed in dramatic fashion when U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detained him at Las Vegas airport. Shocking headlines blared that the world's most followed TikToker was accused of breaking immigration laws. Records show he touched down in the U.S. on April 30th, even walking the Met Gala red carpet on May 5th like royalty. But that star moment came crashing down thanks to Bo Loudon, a self-proclaimed Trump-supporting influencer who publicly branded Khaby as an illegal immigrant and a tax dodger. It feels like forever since Khaby's quick-hit clips showed up on my feed. Honestly, I had to check if I even still follow him anymore. Wild, considering this man commands 162 million followers like a digital empire. My tiny account is nothing but a grain of sand compared to the desert storm of fame he created. Let's be real. Khaby lived a dream that most of us couldn't reach even in 100 lifetimes. Sure, he put in the effort, but let's not act like luck didn't play a role. Some people call it fate, others call it divine timing. Before TikTok crowned him king, Khaby was just another factory worker in Italy, clocking in and out without anyone noticing. If the pandemic hadn't flipped the world upside down, his life might have stayed invisible forever. When COVID hit, millions lost their jobs, Khaby included. But while some crumbled, he found his shot. Stuck in a tiny room with nothing but a phone and free time, he struck gold. While the world drowned in endless death counts, fear-driven headlines, and nonstop chaos, Khaby offered a silent antidote. Comedy without words, simplicity in the middle of global panic. People were desperate to escape reality, and Khaby's face became the escape button. His content was so spot on that his follower count didn't just rise, it exploded. In less than 12 months, he skyrocketed to 50 million followers. And just a year later, he made internet history, snatching the crown from Charli D'Amelio, the so-called queen of TikTok, whose dance clips once ruled the app. As the world crawled back to normal life, people clocked back into jobs, stress, and everyday hustle, and suddenly Khaby's silent skits didn't hit the same anymore. Viewers started saying his content felt empty, even pointless. And then came the trigger. Headlines screaming about Khaby's jaw-dropping paychecks. That's when the backlash really exploded. How could he pocket $750,000 for a single clip, sometimes not even his own original idea, while millions grind 12 hours a day, getting barked at by bosses just to scrape by? One quick shrug from him could buy what most people wouldn't touch in a lifetime. The outrage was instant, and people didn't hold back. Even Mr. Beast.
It's not that much.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely not that much. He can get 200K at TikTok. So like 200 to 300 is the highest I've ever seen.
Also,
Khaby himself.
The world's biggest YouTuber, known for tossing around millions like spare change, admitted he was stunned at Khaby's insane payouts. To put it in perspective, one short TikTok could land Khaby a luxury mansion or a fleet of high-end cars. Meanwhile, the rest of us can't even afford 1 year of rent without stretching paychecks. Do the math across all his posts, and his yearly earnings rocket into unfathomable territory. Numbers so high, most creators couldn't even imagine them. The envy quickly turned to anger. Online forums and comment sections tore into him, claiming Khaby wasn't putting in real effort compared to countless smaller creators pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into content. His videos, they argued, had gone stale, recycling the same predictable formula over and over again. One viral post on X summed it up with brutal honesty. All he does is shrug. How's that even fame-worthy? That's the cry critics hurled at Khaby once the glow of his rise wore off. To them, his success wasn't just undeserved, it was borderline theft. Think about it. While original creators spend hours filming, editing, and sweating over production, Khaby swoops in, adds his silent shrug, and racks up views in the millions. His formula couldn't be simpler. Point out an obvious shortcut, make a deadpan face, and cash the check. Detractors argued that without those original videos, Khaby wouldn't even have material to react to in the first place. And here's the twist. By the time he hit peak fame, Khaby didn't even need to search for content anymore. Fans practically did the work for him, flooding his inbox with clips and handing him an endless buffet of ideas on a silver platter. That conveyor belt of free content allowed him to drop 6 or 7 videos a day, pumping out viral hit after viral hit like it was nothing.
Take a look.
But the magic didn't last forever. The moment Khaby secured TikTok's throne, his grind came to a screeching halt. Instead of the daily flood, fans suddenly got just 1 or 2 videos a week, and most of those turned out to be sponsored ads. The very supporters who pushed him past Charli D'Amelio felt betrayed, like they'd been tricked into crowning a commercial machine instead of a creator. As the competitive internet climate turned colder, frustration grew louder. People didn't rally behind Khaby just to see him turn into a walking billboard. His shrug had once symbolized humor and simplicity, but now it symbolized disappointment, and the internet was quick to call him out. Khaby may have reaped all the glory, but fans say he forgot the people who put him there. Instead of serving up the comedy that made him famous, he pivoted hard into promotional deals with massive brands, flashing collabs with A-listers like Tom Cruise, Cristiano Ronaldo, and even Lionel Messi. To many, it was clear. Khaby wasn't chasing laughs anymore. He was chasing checks. That's when the whispers started. Was he ever really talented or just lucky? Sure, the shrug routine was funny the first 100 times, but the magic faded fast. Critics began dragging him online, comparing his quick, lazy-seeming clips to creators who grind for days perfecting high-quality content. The contrast made Khaby look like he was coasting and getting rich while others struggled for scraps. Then the controversy snowballed. An old Instagram post resurfaced where Khaby wrote, "We're heading into 2022 and people are still using racism because they got nothing better to do with their lives." He doubled down by insisting that simply not being racist wasn't enough. You had to be actively anti-racist. Some fans applauded him for speaking up, but others accused him of getting political and said he should stick to comedy. The digging didn't stop there. Old clips began resurfacing. Alleged moments where Khaby mocked gender stereotypes or made jokes, critics claimed crossed the line into body shaming. Maybe Khaby thought he was joking, but his actions and expressions told another story.
Risolvere 1000 situazioni con un semplice gesto.
Se mi fanno una domanda parlo.
Critics pointed out how he seemed to poke fun at people's bodies, from mocking a heavyset guy to shading a woman without curves. Those clips hit differently in today's climate, and plenty of viewers said they felt insulted. The fallout was real. His funny videos suddenly looked like cheap shots, and his once spotless image started to crumble. People began asking the uncomfortable question, did Khaby's rise come too easy? He went from being that relatable kid from Italy, quiet, humble, authentic, to a glammed-up star strutting down the Met Gala red carpet like he belonged in Hollywood. For many longtime fans, the transformation was jarring. The down-to-earth storyteller they rooted for had morphed into a money-printing machine, and the connection felt broken. Of course, it's hard to completely blame him. Who wouldn't be tempted by fame, fortune, and red carpet treatment? But the shift made one thing crystal clear. Khaby wasn't the same guy who once recorded skits in a cramped bedroom. The TikTok darling who made the world laugh had been replaced by a polished celebrity with dollar signs in his eyes. And then Khaby himself confirmed what fans feared. TikTok wasn't his end game. In interviews, he revealed that his real dream was making movies, a passion he's held since childhood. That was the signal. He wasn't focused on churning out content for TikTok anymore. The platform that made him king was now just a stepping stone. From grabbing roles in blockbusters like Rags and Bad Boys, to flexing as a judge on Italy's Got Talent. And now, Khaby is aiming even higher. Gearing up for his very own movie, Double Khaby, he's carving out achievements that stretch way beyond just being TikTok's most followed creator. But here's the twist. Despite surviving all the controversies, Khaby's crown isn't shining like it used to. His follower count might still sit at the top, but the numbers tell a different story. Those polished, big-budget TikToks with slick edits and glossy visuals, they're barely cracking a few million views. That's a steep fall from the hundreds of millions he once raked in at his peak. To critics, it's proof that the magic is fading. To fans, it's a reminder of how far he's drifted from the humble comedian they once adored. Still, Khaby holds a unique place in internet culture. Many will always remember him as the silent comic genius, the guy who didn't need words to roast bad life hacks, the immigrant kid who turned struggle into superstardom. And no matter what scandals swirl around him, Khaby still carries himself with a kind of calm, kind-hearted aura that keeps millions rooting for him worldwide. But the question hangs heavy. Will the storms of criticism eventually crack Khaby's TikTok empire wide open? Or are these just bumps in the road before he cements his name on the big screen? What do you think? Could Khaby bounce back and dominate again? Or is this the slow fade of a legend? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the real stories behind the stars.